because her witch's senses told her that Mr. Felix and Solomon were not entirely unrelated. When she went home, she would ask Solomon, "What did you do today, Solomon?" And he would reply, "Oh, the usual, helping with magic around the house, doing the laundry, cleaning the dishes. A cat's housework is never done." And Katie would smile to herself because she knew he wasn't being entirely truthful. One day at school, after a particularly grueling test that left more than half the class with the prospect of facing detention, Samantha raised her hand. "Mr. Felix, why are we even bothering with this, sir?" Samantha asked, her voice laced with genuine curiosity, but edged with frustration. "What's the point of learning Latin? It's not like we're going to use it to text our friends or anything." And Mr. Felix, who really did not like Samantha at the best of times, positively roared back, "What's the point in learning Latin? I'll tell you what the point of learning Latin is. Students who don't learn their Latin verbs will be thrown to the lions." And for a few moments, Mr. Felix seemed to turn into a lion. Not just to Samantha, but to all the students, and the class seemed to turn into a Roman arena. There were crowds of people seated all around them, gasping and cheering as the lion came closer and closer to Samantha, seemingly about to pounce and eat her. All the children were screaming their heads off, apart from Katie, who was thinking, "Oh, Solomon, now you've done it." She said a spell that brought them all back to the Latin class. But it was too late. Miss Hepworth, the head teacher, came rushing in to see what all the screaming was about. She found the entire Latin class as white as sheets, as if they had seen a ghost. Some of them muttered something about a lion in the room. Nothing seemed to make any sense, especially Mr. Felix, who spat out, "That will teach them what the point of Latin is." And Miss Hepworth, who already had some serious doubts about the strange Mr. Felix, went back to her office and called the teaching agency to ask for another temporary Latin teacher. The next day they sent Miss Aquila, who was much more boring, much to the relief of Mrs. Hepworth and the Latin class. Mr. Felix was indignant at being fired. "Don't you know little kids like being frightened?" he insisted. "Not at this school," said Mrs. Hepworth. But, of course, she had to pay Mr. Felix for his time at the school. 6 weeks' salary in all. And secretly, he was very pleased with the money. And oddly enough, when the holidays came, Katie and her mum went to stay with Great-Aunt Chloe in the countryside because they couldn't afford the flights and hotels and meals out. But their pet cat, Solomon, checked himself in to the Feline Luxe Resort. So finally, he received the treatment he felt he deserved.